Congrats to the Kansas City Royals, who became the first team in over 25 years to win the World Series the year after losing the World Series. Bullpens were the story of the series. New York outscoring Kansas City 18-12 in the first 6 innings. You just heard about resilience, but the Royals outscoring the Mets 15-1 from the 7th inning on. Stephen A., what happened to the Mets?
Well, first of all, kudos to the Royals. I did not expect them to win this series because I'm of the belief that pitching wins championships. I forgot that it's not just starting pitching that you rely on, it's the bullpen. Yeah. And obviously with the Kansas City Royals, that clearly was their strength, even with Holland out, obviously having to have surgery just a few months ago. But in the end, while I sit here and I give the Royals all the credit in the world, they put the bat on the ball. They put it in play. They strike out less than anybody in Major League Baseball. They run the bases. They play small ball. They manufacture runs. And then they go out and they do the things, fundamentally speaking, that you need to do in order to win. The one thing that I think, however, must go, we have to speak on it, can't go unnoticed. The Mets had a lead in Game 1. You blew it. Not just an error by Wright, but also the blown save by Familia, all right, who didn't trust his 97-mile-per-hour sinker and instead tried to quick pitch Alex Gordon and then ended up costing him. You had the lead in Game 4, and you ultimately blew that, and you had the error by Daniel Murphy. You had the lead last night. Matt Harvey was sensational, answered the bell, pitched 8 complete innings. I had no problem with Terry Collins sending him out there to pitch, but he should have yanked him once he walked Kane. He should not have let him pitch to that second batter. Kane stole second, and then obviously, and then Hosmer smacked that shot, and ultimately Kane came home. That was the mistake. That's the lone mistake that was made as it pertained to Harvey. But in the end, the Mets lost this game because the Royals were more fundamentally sound. They know how to play this game, and more importantly, the Mets choked. There's no other way around this. When you lose because of errors, you have choked. That's what happened. Lucas Duda last night, the throw to home plate, not catch, wild throw and not catching Hosmer. That you could have ended the game right there. He messed up. So it's Duda, it's Murphy, and by the way, Cespedes, didn't show up. Daniel Murphy didn't show up. They won't be back next year. They played well through the playoffs, but when the World Series arrived, your hitters didn't hit and your defense committed errors, and it was against the most fundamentally sound team in baseball. That's why the Kansas City Royals are the champions.
If Lucas Duda just makes a decent throw home, they're going back to Kansas City for Game 6,
That's right? That's right.
And he overgrips the ball and threw a big curveball that the catcher couldn't even flag down. And all of a sudden, the heart fell out of the Mets. They were devastated again. Here's my bottom line to this World Series. The Mets turned back into the sad sack Mets. And you've been in New York a long time. You've covered a lot of Mets. You know the Mets. Even though they have won 2 World Series, down through baseball history, they have actually rivaled the Cubs as the sad sack organization, the dysfunctional organization, the one known for ineptitude, for when what can go wrong will go wrong. It's been Mets versus Cubs versus Mets versus Cubs, right? Yeah. And that's what struck me, is that they're still the same old Mets. Because what happened? The first batter up for Kansas City in Game 1, bottom of the first. Remember Escobar?
That's right.
Hits a long fly. And Cespedes, I don't know what he's doing. And he either lost it in the lights or his shoulder is hurting or whatever, and it bounces off his foot into an inside the park home run.
Cespedes seemed like he didn't even care half the time.
He didn't care.
And batted 3 for 20 in this series with 6 strikeouts.
And then Familia, untouchable, and he leaves the ball up and over the plate to Alex Gordon, and he hits it to Oklahoma City. Remember that? That devastated the Mets right there. And then you lived and you died by Daniel Murphy, because he was Babe Ruth to this point, and then he never looks like a second baseman to me anyway. He looks like a power hitter playing second base.
He was also 3 for 20.
Yeah,
7
terrible.
strikeouts.
He was terrible. Yeah. And then he botches that ball. He botched another ball in the 12th inning last night that opened the floodgates. So you live and die by him, and in the end, you're just the same old Mets, and you lost in 5. You swept the Cubs, and you lost in 5.
Because the Cubs were the league leaders in strikeouts. Yeah. And Kansas City didn't strike out. At all.
Tough weekend for New York sports. And that comes from Miss Connecticut.
No doubt. No doubt. Congratulations to Kansas City. They deserve it.
Yes. They're 2 of the best ever, and both of their teams are 7-0. But does Peyton's team hold the edge over Brady's bunch? Find out next.